Hello, lovely people. Welcome back to the Only Life podcast based in China. This week, we are joined with one special guest. He is an expert and a doctor in traditional Chinese medicine. I know you are wondering, how can somebody, an African or a black, be specialized in Chinese traditional medicine? So he is a doctor in one of the hospitals in Shanghai. He has lived in China for over 20 good years. Wow, that has been a long time. And today we want him to share his experience with us, how he even thought about studying TCM and the journey in this field. Welcome, sir, Dr. Anthony Balinga. I don't know if I pronounced the same name well.
It's correct. It's correct. Thank you very much, and it's an honor for me to be on the podcast. And I hope the discussion we have today will be as useful as possible to as many people as we possibly can reach. Yes.
Wow, interesting. You have been a doctor for, you have lived in China for 20 good years now.
More than 20.
More than 20. Wow. Before we even talk about China, growing up, did you ever thought about traditional Chinese medicine? Being a doctor in traditional Chinese medicine?
Honestly, not at the beginning. No. Um, I somehow happened to fall upon this path. But I did think about alternative medicine when I was a kid. And the
Oh,
reason, as usual, is because I was a very sickly kid. As a child, I often
oh,
fell ill. I had fevers every now and then, and sometimes almost even lost my life to it. And the
yeah.
hospitals could hardly do much each time. So I managed to recover at some point, but it's going to happen again. And so I
Oh,
began to figure that I need to find a way to deal with my problems myself if the
yourself.
hospital cannot find a
So,
solution for me. Yeah.
yeah,
So this is basically how it started, trying to think about how can I find some other ways which, can help me solve my health issues
yeah.
since the hospital apparently is not able to deal with this. So this is my beginning, my orientation towards alternative medicine, but it wasn't specifically Chinese medicine in my mind
Yeah.
because at the time we didn't have many Chinese people, around the place. We saw them at a distance, those who were there building something. We never talked to them, we couldn't understand the language.
Yes.
So it wasn't about China, it wasn't about Chinese medicine, it was just alternative medicine. But I happen to come from a very complex background, and I don't know if I should take the time to digress into that. And that had
Yeah.
some bearing on my choices. Yeah. So, like I
Wow.
said, I'm Cameroonian, but
Yes.
I am partially Cameroonian by blood. My father is half Cameroonian, half Nigerian. My
Okay.
mother is half Cameroonian, half Portuguese, Sao Tomean. So
That
mixed
is
blood.
too much. This is not
Yeah,
mix. This is quadruple mix. Wow.
exactly. So our
Yeah.
family is a pretty mixed up family. We have blood from left and right, Europe, Africa, multiple African countries, and so the
Yeah.
culture in the family was a little bit complex. And on top of that, we have like a Jewish origin. So
Jewish.
we grew up with Jewish traditions, keeping the Sabbath, not eating pork, Friday
Oh,
evening sunset, not working till Saturday evening sunset. And there was a kind of tradition of alternate healing methods coming with all of this for several
oh,
generations. And so I was already familiar with the Creole aspect of traditional medicine and all of this.
you,
So it wasn't
what is
strange.
Creole? Creole.
Uh, yeah, I should explain. The Creole people are these island people like Jamaicans, Sierra Leoneans,
Oh, okay.
Trinidadians. Yeah, these people who had like slave ancestors and so
Okay.
on, mixed. some of them mix black and white, and they had
Oh
slave
yeah.
ancestors. Yeah, because my mother's mother was half white and half black, and her white
Okay.
father was from Lisbon in Portugal, and the black
Okay.
mother was actually mixed from Sao Tome and Principe, which is a little like Sierra Leone off the coast of,
Yes.
Cameroon. Yes. So these kind of people, Sierra Leoneans, Sao Tomeans, they're called Creole people. They
Yeah.
speak kind of Creole language or patois, as they say.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I was referring to. So they have
Oh,
their own traditional medicines, their own culture, and stuff like that. And so there was a
yeah.
little bit of this in my family.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. Wow. Even before that, I wanted you to tell us your background. I know viewers would like to know much about your background, from where you grew up from and your educational background, and yeah.
Well, yeah, I grew up in multiple places. My father was one of, if not the first, wildlife conservation officer, engineer in Africa. And so
Okay.
he worked with WWF, which is a worldwide fund for nature. It used to be called World Wildlife Fund, and this
Okay.
was under the UK at the time. And so my father traveled a lot. And so my family moved from place to place. Part of the time we're in Cameroon, part of the time we're elsewhere. And so I have some
Okay.
siblings who were born in different countries, in France, in the US, and so on.
Oh
I
yeah.
was raised essentially in Cameroon, essentially, I should say
Okay.
that, and partially in France and partially in the UK, Birmingham. Yes. So I
Yeah.
spent some time, quite some time in Cameroon. I should say most of the time it should be Cameroon. Yes.
Cameroon. Yeah.
And then there was some time in France in Besançon. And then there was the UK, Birmingham. And the rest
Yeah.
was just traveling here and there. So
Yeah.
this is my background. And so I have family everywhere. And I studied in Cameroonian University, a French
Okay.
university, a British university, and a Chinese university. Yeah.
Wait, how is that possible?
Well,
So you had your bachelor in Cameroon, right?
um, half of it in Cameroon and half of it in France, because there's some kind of collaboration between French universities and Cameroonian
Okay.
universities where we have these exchange programs and so on. So I
Yes.
was in Besançon for part of the program and in Cameroon for another part of the program, the French-speaking part of Cameroon. And
Yes.
so I have several degrees. I have a degree in linguistics, English and French, and also in translation and interpretation. This is one of my
Oh,
degrees. Yes. So languages and stuff like that, translation, I hold a degree in that. But I also have a degree in tourism, ecological tourism. Yes. And I have a master's degree from Birmingham University in ecological tourism. I also have a degree in combined Western medicine and Chinese traditional medicine. Most of it
wait,
from China. Yes.
wait. Yeah. Before we even come there, so you had your bachelor in Chinese language linguistic,
No, no,
then
no. English and French. English and
English and
French.
English and French. So in
Yes.
languages. So
Yeah.
how did it come about you moving from linguistic languages to Chinese traditional medicine?
It's very complex. It's a long story. If you really want to listen to this, it's gonna take the whole day. But I'll try. Let me put it
Yeah.
this way. When I was a kid, you can see my build is not very like thick and muscular. I'm not that big. I'm just slightly more than average in terms of height. When I was a kid, I wasn't very muscular. I was slender. So I got bullied in school quite a bit.
Yeah.
And partly I got partly bullied because of my background. Africa. If you're actually like a quarter caste or half caste or whatever, you'll be bullied
Yeah.
for this in school. Your family is a little
Yes.
bit different. You'll be bullied for that. So some kids were like, don't pass here, don't pass there, and you get a knock on the head, stuff like that. So at some
Yeah.
point, I decided to study the martial arts. So I began to
Oh,
learn karate, Chinese kung fu, and boxing and stuff like that. So this was the beginning of my martial arts career. So I actually ended up
that was
studying.
in sorry, that was in Cameroon.
Yes, yes, this started in Cameroon, but it went on to France,
Okay.
went on to England, different martial arts, different times.
Yeah.
Yes, so I
Okay.
studied karate, I studied Aikido, I studied what do you call Nambudo, I studied
Okay.
Kung Fu, I studied Judo, I studied Jiu-Jitsu, different times.
Oh,
Yes, for different reasons. So the long and short of it was I became very versed, very well versed in the martial arts, an all-rounder, so to speak.
yes.
And the martial arts introduces you to medicine. You think you're going to study how to fight, how to kill people.
Out fight.
Yes.
Yeah.
But when you meet the real teachers, you realize you're
Yes.
actually studying philosophy and medicine. So you're
Oh,
not here to learn how to brutalize people. You're here to learn how to cultivate your mind, to leave the world of fear and brutality behind, and to manage aggression, learn how to manage aggressive people. So I found myself steeped in philosophy, steeped in medicine, because in the martial arts, not only
yes.
do you learn how to damage
Fight.
people's bodies, you have to learn how to heal those bodies you have damaged. Yes,
Oh,
yes, that's it. Because
interesting.
you hurt someone, they could die, and you have to bring them back. So,
Y-
yeah,
Yeah, that is something because why will you damage someone and you learn how to heal them again? That's so yeah. The martial art is all about fun. I don't get it.
all about
How will you hurt someone and still heal the person again?
that's the thing. You see, a lot of people in the world do not understand what the martial arts are all about. Even I, in
Yeah,
the beginning, did not. I
yeah.
went to learn because I wanted to learn how to fight back, how
Fight.
to hurt the
Yeah.
people who were hurting me. So, because I was angry, I wanted to be able to hurt people. I went there. But when I met the teachers, after some time, I realized they're talking about love, not hate, not violence. And I was a little bit confused, like,
Opposite.
what's the relationship? And
Yes.
so I realized that you learn how to fight because you have to learn how to defend yourself.
Yeah.
But you are not learning how to fight to start fights, only to be able to deal with
Defend.
fights when you cannot avoid them.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah. And so you learn that the fight starts inside of yourself and that you are your own worst enemy. So all the people you wanted to fight, they're not your real enemies, it's yourself. Your fears, your
Yeah.
suspicions, you know, and your anger and all of these things
Yeah.
are what will lead someone to end up in a fight with you. So if you can overcome your own fear, your own anger, and other
Yes.
things, maybe all your life you will never end up in a real fight.
Fight.
Yes.
Interesting.
So someone insults you, you insult them back. Because
That
you
causes
insulted
the
them back,
fight.
this thing is going to turn into something else. Yes. But you
Yeah.
didn't have to. You could have just said thank you and just walk away.
Yeah.
So you start to learn these things. At the same time, you learn how to be extremely violent if it's necessary. And then you lose all the desire to go out fighting because you already exercise all of that violence in the school.
Yes.
Yeah, so we do that every day to each other. We learn how to fall, we learn how to absorb the blows. We don't really get hurt much. And then you
Yeah.
have no desire to do it outside again. It's gone. And you have no need to prove yourself because you know what you can do. So you lose the
Wow.
desire to prove I can beat people. You lose the desire to fight. And there's
To
peace in your
fight.
mind. Yes, most of the time. So that's the thing.
Interesting.
And so the people you fight with, you don't fight with them because you're angry. You don't fight with them because you really want to destroy them. You fight with them because they are
Yes.
not stopping. They keep coming at you. So you learn how to block, you learn how to
Yes.
lock, and then you learn how to
Prevent
inflict a
them.
certain amount of pain just to change their mind. The intention is for them to feel that this is bigger than them, and then they stop. If they stop, you stop too. No more.
So ideally, you are not even fighting back. You are just preventing them. You are just using a strategy to prevent them.
Yes, to
Oh,
convince them that this is not good. What you're doing is not good, and you can't win. So stop it. So
wow.
when they
Interesting.
insist,
So,
yes,
yeah. So during that period, that made you fell in love with traditional Chinese medicine.
yes, because we were introduced to traditional Chinese medicine while we were studying the martial arts. The
Yes.
teachers showed us more than 300 points on the human body that you can tap or strike at different angles to cause the heart to malfunction, cause the liver to malfunction, cause the kidney to malfunction, cause the brain to shut down, cause blood circulation to stop, cause the nerves to seize, all these kinds of things. So you start to realize your whole body is full of points, like a computer that can be tapped, and
Really?
all kinds of things can happen, bad things. And
Wow.
then, yeah, the teacher
Yeah.
shows you how to use the same points to cause the opposite to happen. So you realize at some
Interesting.
point you're almost like a doctor. So you learned martial arts to fight, but when you
Just
see
like
people with certain
anatomy,
problems,
physiology.
yes, yes,
It's like learning anatomy, physiology. Oh,
kind of, yes, kind of like that. But you realize now you're helping people. You're almost never fighting with anybody. But a lot of the time, you're actually helping people who have a sprain, who have a, like running stomach, who have a,
yes.
broken bone, or
Fracture
who have
or
lost their
something.
minds. Yeah, even lost their minds, mental problems. You realize you're helping these people by
Yes.
just pressing or pinching parts of their body. You becoming a doctor.
Wow.
So
Interesting.
this
I'd
is
like us to talk much about this because I personally am interested in that. I've never had that experience of getting my body massage. I've been seeing several videos about this traditional medicine where they do that, and I really love it. I think I have to get that. Before we even talk much about that, so that made you fall in love with traditional Chinese medicine. So at what point did you decide to come to China?
well, I had taken some courses in Chinese medicine along the way, and then I knew something about it. And because of my martial arts background, there was a
Yeah.
day that I was called up to the admiral of the Navy's house because he had a serious problem and
In
he couldn't solve
Cameroon.
it in the hospital. Someone told him, the admiral, yes, of the Navy. Someone
Yeah.
told him, I know someone who can fix it for you. So he called me.
Yeah.
So I went to his place and
Wow.
I was working on him. And then a call came that the Chinese ambassador was visiting. And so he had to go downstairs. And
Yeah.
then he didn't want to go alone. He asked me to accompany him. So I went downstairs with him and continued doing what I was doing. And the Chinese ambassador observed for some time and asked me, "Who are you?" So I answered, "How do you know about this?" I answered, "Do you think, have you ever thought about going to China to really deepen your knowledge about
But
all of this?"
yeah.
I said, "Well, I've thought about it once or twice, but yeah, just like that." And he said, "Next year, come to my office and see me. We'll see what we can do." So
Wow.
I didn't take it serious. Yeah, I didn't take it serious because you have lots of conversations like this. And
Yes.
so
Yes.
I just forgot about it. But the next year, a lady called me, a Chinese lady from the embassy called me. "Do you remember you talked to the ambassador last year about
The
this?" And I said, "Well,
ambassador. Yeah.
yeah." So listen, can you please just rush to the embassy, bring your documents, whatever qualifications you have, and we'll look into them and see what we can do about you visiting China. And I
Wait.
said,
That time you had. you had your bachelor degree already in
Yes, I even had
languages.
a master's degree on top of that and stuff. Yeah.
Oh wow.
So, yeah, I already had several qualifications at the time. But this was becoming a passion for me.
Okay.
So the long and short of it was I took the offer and I went to the embassy.
Offer. Yeah.
And they paid for everything the first time, several months. Came here for a crash course, intergovernmental exchange program. The time I was working as a physiotherapist at the university in Cameroon, in Boya. Yeah, I was working as a physiotherapist then because I had that
Wait,
qualification as a physio.
I didn't. I don't get it. Before, is it after coming to China, after the course in China, then you became a physiotherapist
I
in
was
Cameroon?
trained as a physiotherapist, amongst other things, before coming to China. So I
Oh, okay.
understood physiotherapy is a Western thing. Yeah, it's a part
Yes.
of medicine. Yeah, it's
Yes.
Western. So I was working with the University of Boya as a physiotherapist at the
Yeah.
time. And then this whole thing happened. And I now came to China for a few months exchange program. I found the course so interesting. When I went back, I decided to quit my job, but the job wouldn't let me quit. So I just left.
Why
I
won't
just
the job won't let you, the job won't
they
let you
didn't want to
quit?
let me go. Yeah, they didn't want to let me go.
Oh,
And so I just left. They were angry about the way I left, but because they didn't want to let me go, I just gave up everything and went. When I went, my salary, everything was cut. So
yes.
that's normal. So I had to go back to university again from first year in medical school
Wait,
because this was
before
Chinese.
you even talk, sorry for interrupting you.
It's all
Before
right.
you even before you even went into before you even came to China, you were accepted by the government to work in a public hospital as a physiotherapist.
Yes, but I was attached to a university. I was working with a university as a physiotherapist.
Yeah.
Yes.
So for them to accept you, meaning you were very good, because I know they had even other medical doctors, people who had gone to medical school for several years and everything, and they chose you, meaning you were very good. You were very good. Wow,
You mean
interesting.
The Chinese choosing me?
No, in Cameroon, you were working as a physiotherapist in Cameroon,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yes.
So that means
Yeah.
you were very good, because for them to trust someone even without any medical, like in academics background, meaning you were very good.
I did have a medical background. We got trained as physiotherapists.
Okay.
Yes. So those who had some background that had something in common with physiotherapy were
Yes.
tested, selected, and put through the program in
Okay.
Cameroon. Yes. So we were
Okay.
put through the program, partly French, partly Cameroonian program, and then we qualified in the end as physiotherapists. Yes.
Wow.
Other qualifications and my martial arts background and what it
Yes.
entailed, I was one of those selected to go through that program. So I did have a
Oh,
qualification in physiotherapy at the time.
oh, okay. Okay.
Yes, as a result of that. And I was working
Yes.
with the university. So we had
Wow.
all these university games and stuff like that. I was one of the key physiotherapists in that university. But I
Wow.
left it, and the
Yeah.
university didn't want me to go at the time. So I just gave it up and came to China and
Wait.
enrolled myself all the way back to year one, started everything from scratch.
How
And
long sorry, how long did you spend, like the duration for the course you had through the ambassador when you came to China for the first time?
the first time was just about 4 months.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It was supposed to be additional training for the medical doctors and the other medical personnel at the
Yes.
universities. So they were adding the Chinese medicine specialization to all the qualifications we had. So the nurses, the physiotherapists, the doctors, they were coming to China to get a 4 month training program, which
Yeah.
added a specialization to what they were doing, added Chinese
Okay.
medicine a dimension to
Yeah,
what we
yeah,
were
yeah.
doing. So we came here. There were nurses, physiotherapists, medical doctors, a whole bunch of us, and there were guys from
Oh,
Morocco, Algeria, Egypt,
different countries.
Russia, Uzbekistan, Azerbaijan. It was
Yeah,
international, a really big thing. And we came here the first time 4 months, and they repeated this. Like every year there were programs like that. I'm sure there still
yeah,
are programs like this.
yeah.
So we came here, and it was so good to me. It was so good because I could
What was
understand.
so good?
We went through the training and we went through the hospitals. We spent time in the hospitals in Shanxi in China. And I
Okay.
could see diseases which, in my opinion, appeared to be terrible diseases being knocked out within hours, sometimes minutes, and sometimes seconds with a single needle or a few needles. No
Oh,
medicines. Yes. I mean, like, we found people who couldn't open their eyes or
yes,
people who couldn't shut their eyes. They're sleeping, the eyes are wide open. And they would go to this part. You see, when you fold your hand, there is this pointed part here.
yes,
Just behind that, they would stick one needle in there, twist it a little, and then slowly pull it out and squeeze. Get 3 drops of blood out of there, and that eye would instantly close or open.
oh, really?
Yes. To me, this was like, wow, this is magic. You know?
Yes,
Yeah. How can this
definitely.
be possible? I mean,
Exactly. That's what
how
I'm asking.
yeah, what's the relationship between your eye and this point here on your hand? It didn't make
Yes.
any sense, but it was happening, you know. And to them, it was a simple thing,
Yeah.
again and again and again. I was like, okay, this is my thing. I have to know more about this. Yes, and because I had learned some of this as a martial artist, but
Yes.
using the fingers, the palms, elbows, or other things. Now using it with the needles was more interesting to me. The needles were more efficient.
Okay.
Yes. And I could see it being done. So I decided I'm going to come back here and I'm going to go from scratch, like take everything from scratch.
Begin. Yes.
So I did that. I returned to China. I went back to school all the way from year one, went through 6 years, went through the hospitals, gathered a lot
Oh,
of experience, and then began to combine this experience with my past experiences and knowledge, which I
experiences.
had obtained from my family, from my martial arts years, from
Yes.
physiotherapy, and also because we had to uh, qualify in Western medicine. I combined all of this together
Wow.
to create my own
Interesting.
system.
Before you even started the program after coming back to China the second time, that was which year?
I'm trying to remember when that was. That probably was 2000 China. That was about what, 2002? Yeah, something like
Oh,
that.
around
I
that
was
time. And
probably
that,
about 33 years old at the time.
oh, so that TCM this thing, you said it's 6 years program, just like MBBS.
Yes, yes.
Oh, so if somebody wants to learn TCM now, the person have to go 6 good years.
5 or 6, depending on which institution you are in. 5 or 6 years. The
And you were
last year
learning
will
in
be in the
hospital.
hospital.
So you were learning in Chinese language or English?
Initially, I was learning in English because there were
Yeah.
enough of us, but after some time, there weren't enough foreign students, and so they just bundled us up into the
Chinese.
Chinese classrooms. So we had to continue the rest of everything in Chinese. Yes.
Wow, interesting. Then I know your Chinese must be very good now. Now,
Well,
so I'm kind of curious so much about this traditional Chinese medicine. I studied my those who don't know, I did pharmacy in China here,
Yeah,
my bachelor degree, and now I'm doing my master's. And we learned TCM at some point. I was expecting our TCM to be practical, like
yeah,
acupuncture, these stuffs, but we never had that. It was just theory, talking about TCM, the history, and just some medicines like herbal medicine, their names and their uses. That was just
yeah.
all. When we talk about TCM, what is TCM mainly about?
That's a very deep thing. TCM is traditional Chinese medicine, you know that, but
Yes,
it's the modern approach that the present Chinese government has to Chinese traditional medicine, the packaging that they have
yeah,
put together for consumption of the Western world. This is TCM. Why? Because there were several different ancient schools of Chinese medicine, and sometimes their approaches were slightly divergent. And so the
okay,
Chinese government selected out of all of these schools what could be put together and took out of that whatever was considered to be superstition, you know,
yes,
things which were maybe just related to spirituality or religion and all of that. They try to extract all of that and put in the practical,
aspect,
approach to the whole thing, the herbal approach or the acupuncture approach in a way that was reproducible, that was understandable to the West, to the Western
yes,
educated mind.
yeah,
Yes, and TCM therefore comprises herbology, what you studied, you know,
yes,
um, herbs, minerals, and other things put together to treat diseases. It also has another aspect, which is acupuncture and moxibustion.
yes,
Moxibustion just being the use of these moxas like cigars. We light them up, they emit far
mm,
infrared rays, and then we use them to heat up
yes,
acupuncture points and so on. So you have pharmacopoeia, which is the herbology aspect. You have the acupuncture and moxibustion aspect, and
yeah,
then you have the qigong, medical qigong aspect. Yeah,
Qigong,
medical qigong is medical exercises
okay,
combining the breath and the physiological compressions and so on to
yeah,
have the same effect as either the herbs or the needles. So you can come
yes,
with a problem, and someone can choose just exercise therapy to treat you, or use acupuncture to treat you, or use herbs to treat you, or even use your food to treat you. This is the dietotherapy. Same
wow.
principles, same logic. Yes.
With the Qigong, I'm not sure. So that is the part where we see them breaking, like it's like breaking the bones. That's the Qigong, right?
It's a that part is well, maybe a part of qigong or a part of acupuncture or massage therapy.
Yeah.
That part belongs to
Mas-
massage therapy because
okay.
TCM has massage therapy too. We have to learn all
Yeah.
of that. So that belongs to massage therapy and it's called zhenggu. Zhenggu. They it's like chiropractics. Yeah, we crack the bones and we pull them. I do all of that. It's a kind of chiropractics, yes, belonging to traditional Chinese medicine, probably older than chiropractics. Yeah, chiropractic
Wow.
studies from them. So yeah, you see that. But what I'm talking about, the qigong, if you go to a park in China, you will see a
Yeah.
lot of old people playing some
Doing that.
slow motion exercises,
Yes.
like
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, tai chi chuan. Tai Chi
Yes.
Chuan is one kind of Qigong.
Okay.
Yes. All these slow exercises combined with breathing, bending, standing, turning, inhale, exhale, put
Yeah.
your fingers like this, push this way. Those are Qigong exercises. And
Interesting.
when people look at them, like especially our people from Africa, they just think, this looks like witchcraft, you know. Like, a
Exactly.
lot of our people get scared when they see that, but it's very understandable, and the principles are identical to those used in herbology, in acupuncture, in massage therapy.
Yes.
Why? I will explain. You see, if you go to Africa, you're sick, they will give you herbs. You go to Europe,
Yes.
you're sick. Some people will give you herbs too. You come to China, you're sick, they give you herbs. Sometimes they're even the same herbs, identical, sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But the philosophy behind the application of the herb is different. In China, a herb is not just a herb. A herb is a
Food.
manifestation of an energy form. This is the philosophy behind it. So
Oh.
the Chinese don't just see this as a herb. They don't just see that as a needle. They don't just see this as a massage technique. The
Yes.
philosophy is everything in the universe is energy. And energy can become solid, it can become liquid, it can be a
Yeah.
gas, or it can be, a plasma. But they have
Can be
ancient
transformed but
terminologies.
cannot be destroyed.
Yes, yes. So Chinese medicine's approach to energy spans material physics all the way to quantum physics, with ancient terminologies used for that.
Yes.
So basically, it says, for example, if you're going to the toilet, excuse me for discussing this, you're going to the toilet,
Yeah. Yes.
whatever is going to the toilet is going downward. So
Yes.
Chinese medicine understands this as energy moving downward in the body. If
Okay.
you're going to pee, also energy moving downward in
Down.
the body. If you eat and you're digesting, energy moving down. So this is healthy for the energy to move down in this way. If the energy gets blocked, it cannot move down, it will
Yes.
rebel. What will happen? It will go in the opposite direction. So you
Yes.
will throw up, you will get a
Okay.
headache, you will get red eyes, your blood pressure
Okay.
will go up. This is rebellion of energy going upward.
Up instead of
Yes.
downwards.
Yes. So if the proper movement of energy is obstructed, the energy will reverse itself. When it reverses itself,
Yes.
it is now considered adverse energy, adverse chi. So it's more of a
Yes.
functional approach. So what
Okay.
is a function? It's a downward descending function, an
Yes.
ascending function, an expanding function, like in heat when you're sweating you're feeling heat, the heat expands and you sweat. This is an expansive function. The water
Yeah.
goes out of your body. Or a contracting function. When you're cold, your
Oh
body
yeah.
contracts and
You have
energy
to
moves towards the center. Or a stagnating function when nothing is
stagnate.
moving. Everything is standing still. Then you get blood clots, you get
Oh.
cancer, and things like that.
Oh, interesting. I was trying to think what when you are stagnant, but when you just mentioned cancer, clotting, interesting.
Yes.
Oh
This is
yeah.
stasis, yes. Stasis. So Chinese medicine talks about blood stasis or qi stagnation. Qi stagnation just being body electricity stagnating, not
Yeah.
being distributed in the nervous system. That's it.
Yeah.
You have the autonomous nervous system, the various nervous systems. So Chinese medicine takes all of them into account, but it's everything is classified as energy, moving down, moving
Yeah.
up, expanding, contracting, stagnating. Five movements. And these are
Yeah.
classified as the five elements or the five phases known as Wu Xing in Chinese medicine. And there's a
Wuxing.
whole philosophy linking all of them, showing which one will attack which one
Yes.
will subdue which one will nourish and strengthen the other one.
Yeah.
So there's a map like a star. We draw like a five-pointed star, and then you have arrows on the stars, and you can see what supplies what and what will damage what.
Yes.
And, yeah,
Yeah.
and
I
this
I remember those things.
yes,
Is it firewood,
exactly.
soil, something? Those ones. Yeah. And I
Firewood,
really love
earth,
that part. It
metal,
was
and
just
water. Yes,
I just learned the theory part. It was just interesting, but I didn't know how to really apply them. Like,
apply it.
yeah, medical.
This
But I
happens to a
read,
lot of people. They
yeah,
study Chinese medicine and later find they don't know how to apply it, and then they give it up. So most of the people who came with us to China in the
Yeah.
beginning, they gave up Chinese medicine. Very few of them ever really practiced for long.
Why is it like that? Eh, yeah, because I feel like it's very interesting, but I just learned the theory. I love that theory as well, but how to really apply that? Maybe is it because they didn't teach us that? Did they teach you or you learn by yourself?
They taught us, but it was difficult for us to understand. Even I faced some problems in the beginning understanding. If I didn't have the martial arts background I had initially, I might
Yes.
also have given up at some point. Why? Because the
Oh,
Chinese educational system and the Western educational system have two different approaches. In
yes.
the West, the teacher says a nose is blue. I raise my hand and ask, but why? you know, and the teacher has to say it's blue because the red
Because
was mixed with green.
yeah.
And if it doesn't make sense, I would say no, it doesn't make sense. In the
No,
Chinese
no, no, no.
educational
Yeah.
system, the teacher says the nose is blue. You say yes, and you sit quiet.
It's
They say
blue.
your ear is yellow. You say yes. Then, when the teacher
Exactly.
shows the connection after 2 years or 3 years, it's like, oh, I see. So, in the beginning, you might not even know, not understand why. The teacher just
Yes.
wants you to
Get
absorb
the
the points they're
basics.
giving you. Then later, the teacher connects all of them. And so, us, we are not patient enough to wait for the teacher to do that. We question
How?
everything, get
Yeah.
confused, get annoyed, mix it up in our heads, think it's rubbish, and give it up. Yes.
Dog, how why wouldn't we be confused if I don't understand that concept? Then we are always worried how we move to the next side. Anyways, to our viewers who are watching live, we have one doctor, Dr. Anthony Balinga. He is a doctor specialized in Chinese herbal medicine. We have somebody watching from Japan. He's saying hi. Specialized in Japanese, I say Japanese, Chinese traditional medicine, and today he's sharing all his experience after working in China for so many years in traditional Chinese medicine. If you have any question, you can comment in the comment section, or you can join through this live to ask any question about him being a doctor in China in terms of traditional Chinese medicine. Doc, I'm really enjoying this live so much because I'm learning a lot. Yeah.
My pleasure.
Yeah. So with these elements, these five elements, you are saying that that is the main foundation of traditional Chinese medicine.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
If you
Interesting. For
understand that, you understand
yeah.
almost everything.
Oh. Yeah. For me, if we understand the practical part, right? Not the
Yeah.
theory part, because yeah, I personally I know the theory part, but practically I don't really know how to apply that.
Yeah.
So the question I really want to ask is, you are working in a hospital in Shanghai, China. How do are your patients Chinese or foreigners?
I will answer the first question. I no longer work in the regular hospitals in China. I
Okay.
pulled
Okay.
out of them and I set up my own space, my own consultation space. This was
Okay.
pre-COVID, pre-COVID. And
Yes.
so I receive my patients now not in a regular Chinese hospital, but in my own center. And
Yes.
in fact, the majority of the cases I receive now, I even don't see them face to face. They're
Okay.
online.
Okay.
Ever since COVID, 95 to 97% of my work has been online with,
Online.
let's say, a 99% success
Yeah.
success rate. And
Wow.
I feel very happy about this because we've been able to take Chinese medicine, take it out of the regular hospital,
Yes.
reach people in the villages who normally could not be reached. without any doctor needing to be there, just because we have the internet.
Yes.
Yes. So most people who consult, they just ring me up on WhatsApp, WeChat, and tell me about their problem. So I ask them to open their mouth or to take a picture. Most of the time, I ask them to take a picture because it's better that way. Take two
Yeah.
pictures, one of the upper surface of your tongue and the other of the lower surface of your tongue. You send the
Yeah.
pictures to me. I take a
Yes.
look at them, and in 20 seconds, I know everything which is wrong with you.
Just the tongue.
Yes, yes. I spent years
Wait.
focusing on this.
Yeah. You know, actually, the reason why me I went into pharmacy was because I was sick when I was young, and I never liked medicine. But I was so
Yeah.
seriously sick, I was in pain. And one man just gave me a tablet. And after that tablet till now, I've never had a stomach ache. So I was like, wow, just that little
Yeah.
tablet can change my life. So I was like, wow, then I really have to involve. Then that really inspired me to learn something about pharmacy. I feel like it's just not taking uh caring people. It's more magical. If you don't know the science, it's more magical.
Yes.
So with what you are saying, I'm more curious. I like I'm you are making me more curious. How can I just look at the tank and say this? Wow. And I must
It
ask
is
this question.
possible.
So yeah, I'm asking, do you train people who want to be like you? Do you train people like that?
Yes, we have been training people for many years. Like in Cameroon and some countries, the people who are treating I can just say heads of states, ministers, prime ministers, most of them were trained by us. And most of them have never been to China.
Wow.
So we
Then
trained online. Yes, they register with us and we work with them over a period of time, giving them lessons, talking, explaining, guiding, and they acquire skills which are unbeatable.
wait. You just mentioned and they have never been in China. And I'm asking myself, what am I doing whilst in China?
Yeah, precisely. There are many things we can do back home. We don't have to be here. Yeah. And so I'm considering as well going home. Yeah. You see,
Yes.
we'll talk about some of these things, but like you asked about the tongue. In Chinese medicine, there is a tradition. Even in African medicine, there was this tradition of inspecting the tongue in some parts of Africa and in China
Yeah.
too. In China, it was systematically developed and incorporated, nationally as part of their traditional medicine. In Africa, it was
Yeah.
just here, there, and most people don't even know about such things. But by looking at someone's tongue, you can diagnose because the tongue is you. The upper part of your tongue is your head. The deepest part of your tongue near your throat is your lower body and your legs. The middle part is the middle part of your body. The front surface is the front surface of your body. The back of your tongue, the under part, is your back. And so if you know what you're looking for, you can see what's going on with the lower part of the body, the middle part, the upper parts, the front and the back, the left and the right, the center. You can see all of that. What's the color of your tongue? I'll make it simple, for example. Someone's tongue is
Yes.
very red. It means there's inflammation in their
I don't
tongue.
know if you can see mine.
Because the picture is not very
It's not
big.
clear. Yeah, yeah,
I can
yeah.
see, but I can
Yeah.
see mostly your tongue surface is whitish. What this
Okay.
means is that your body temperature is lower than 37 degrees. So you're slightly towards the cold side. And so your circulation will be a little bit poor, your metabolic rate will be slightly poor, And because I didn't see other details, I can't tell you that totally. But if you were closer, I could tell you everything, everything, just from that flash that you flashed your tongue. Everything is already there. Yeah, your
Wow.
tongue is you. Yes. So
Before you
if you
even
see,
continue, so in case
yes,
anybody wants, I know so many people who will be watching pre-recorded will be so interested to learn even how to do this by themselves. They will need teaching and coaching from there.
yes.
What are the guidelines, how they can reach you in case they want anything, or the requirements in case anybody wants to learn anything like that from you?
Yeah, they can contact me through WhatsApp, through my China telephone number with like +86
Yes.
150 3511 6484. So I repeat,
Mm,
+86 150 3511 6484. And this is my WhatsApp number. It's also my one of my telephone numbers.
yes.
And otherwise, they can contact me on WeChat. For those who are on WeChat,
In China.
they can use Tony 528067. The T is a capital T. The rest are small letters. Tony
Mm,
528067. They can add my WeChat. And
yes.
otherwise, they can find me on Facebook. I don't often go to Facebook, but yeah,
Yeah.
yes. And of course,
Mm,
on YouTube, they can go to my
yes.
YouTube, Anthony Balinga. They can see what I post up there. And but essentially, if they really want to
Interesting.
chat, it's WhatsApp or WeChat, and
Yeah.
we can talk about these things. Yeah.
I'll put a link of all these your handles in the description box. So if anybody wants to contact Dr. Anthony Balinga, check in the description box. You can reach him on all those links and the contacts, and you take it from there. Wow, I'm really curious. I have so many questions in mind now about this traditional Chinese medicine. In case somebody wants to learn, how long will it take the person to be an expert when somebody wants to reach you?
If I am training someone personally, I think within 3 months you could be an expert. But
Within
3 months. I'm saying this for me. It takes 3 years minimum to be reasonably good in Chinese medicine. But because I developed my own systems, I can get you to be able to do serious things within 3 months. But those 3 months are not sufficient for everything. After
yes,
that, you will still have to continue building it up. And it still could take you 1 year to 3 years to be 100% excellent. But for most people who study Chinese medicine, even after 3 years or 5 years, they're not able to do much. They
yes,
have to still follow a doctor for 1 year, 2 years, or more to become efficient. I can
yeah,
make you that efficient within 3 months, the first 3 months, because I have my own methods, my own systems. I can simplify the Chinese medicine in a way that makes sense, especially to our people, even to Chinese people. There's lots of Chinese people come to learn from us,
wow,
including doctors. Yes, they come to learn because I study their tradition, you know, their philosophy, Taoist philosophy, all of that. I studied a
yeah,
hundred percent.
Confucius.
Yes,
Oh,
so I understand it to the root, to the core. So they
wow.
come to me. Yes, they come to me sometimes to learn as well, and they told me you cannot leave China without leaving some of what you you got here. Yeah,
The
because
question,
they themselves
yeah,
have lost it. A lot of them have lost the tradition.
yeah, that's true. That is exactly what I was about to say, because before coming to China, I thought everybody was good at Kung Fu, Tai Chi, these stuff. I came, I realized even about 90% know nothing about these things.
Yeah.
It's the same way in Africa. Growing up, I could see your grandmother can look at this young lady and say, "This person is pregnant."
Yeah.
Your grandmother can look at you, "Oh, something has happened to you. You are not well." And it's true, you are not well. And we took it as witchcraft or something.
Witchcraft. Yeah.
But I should say that the Chinese have really done well. They have, should I say, they have utilized it very well. Because if we also had those things, like by now we could have had a popular great African herbal medicine, just like
Yes.
the TCM.
Yes. But our people were running away from it because we were told it's witchcraft, it's black magic, it's evil, it goes against God, and so people ran away from it. And even some of the people who practiced it, trying to
Yes,
hide their secrets, they also mystified it and then made people believe they were doing magic when there
magic.
was really no magic there. But yeah, it's a
Exa-
science.
Exactly, because you see, these Chinese, I still see them as magic. Even the massage, them checking your, I see that it's still magic. It's kind of magic, but they have really
How?
embraced it. You see, they have really
Yeah.
embraced it, and now it has become a part of them. And one of the, I think, the best herbal medicines, well recognized herbal medicines in the world now.
Yes, it is. It is. You know, the Chinese never separated the spiritual from the physical, the psychological from the material. They didn't separate this. So if you come to me as a TCM doctor and you
Yeah,
say, my, let's say my right side, the right side of my chest hurts,
yeah,
I already know this belongs to the wood element according to TCM. And
yes.
the wood element is two organs, your liver and your gallbladder. I already know you have problems with your liver and gallbladder. I will ask you, do you feel irritable easily? Do you get angry easily? And then the answer is, how did you know?
Exactly.
Why? Because the emotion of anger is contained in the liver and the gallbladder. Anyone who has any disease affecting the liver and gallbladder will have anger issues. But anger issues are not a physical problem. You know, a man who's losing his temper, breaking bottles, beating people all the time, they think he's crazy, he's like a lunatic. Back home, they will say he's possessed. Let's go to church and pray for him.
Exactly.
Yeah. And they may be right. I mean, I'm not going against, because there's different
Yeah.
approaches to different things.
Yes. Yes.
But to
Yes.
me, he has a liver gallbladder problem, which is the wood element. There's an acupuncture point for that. I place one needle and wait for about 20 to 40 minutes, and you realize he's a smiling man now. He's no longer angry. It's done.
Wait.
One needle under on the foot, below the ankle bone, about 1 inch below. I insert a needle in there. Wait for about 20 to 40 minutes. He starts to feel so peaceful, so joyful, and he becomes a happy person, chatting with others, no longer blowing up. Now, they
Dog.
would have taken him to church, laid hands on him, anointed oil, prayed a lot for the next, and he probably still wouldn't change.
Yeah. Dog, you
I
are
have
making me
said,
feel like, why did I come for pharmacy when there was TCN?
this is what
Please don't
happens
make
to a
me
lot of
feel
people.
that.
Well, you're not wrong. You're not wrong because
Yeah.
doing the pharmacy is the same thing. If I explain your pharmacy, if the herbology they taught to you, it's 100% this, but you're using
Yeah.
herbs to do the same thing. So I told you, the herb represents an energy, the wood element. Just like I said, this is a wood problem. As a pharmacist, you would also understand this person here has a wood element problem, which is liver gallbladder. Now, what
Yeah.
are the herbs which regulate the wood element or which regulate the liver and gallbladder? You know them. You just, this is what you will give to him. And in a few minutes after drinking them, you have the same result I obtained with my needle.
Yeah.
So you haven't gone astray. You just don't know how to apply these principles to what you studied. But if you understand, your name will be heard everywhere around the world. Yes, we get called by heads of states from here. I don't want to call names. They
Yeah,
called me.
no,
Last time
you
the
don't
research
even have
interview
to
was,
say that
yes.
because you don't even
Mhm.
have to say that, but trust me, just having this conversation has made me thought of I need to have a class with you where I also have to have that part of my this thing. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I feel like having that science alone is everything.
Yeah, you have the science, you have the knowledge, it's all there. Now, what you need to do is understand the philosophical aspect of it, how to apply it in a practical way.
Away.
Once that clicks, you'll be like, oh, I see. This is how you feel. And then, the sky's the limit. It becomes a game. You don't want to do anything else. This is all you want to do. Because you look at anyone, you look at anything, you're seeing the connections. It's in your head and you're seeing all the connections and you know what to do. And you're very confident because every time the result is there
Yes.
systematically. It's like connecting two electric wires, they will spark. They always
Yeah.
will spark. So the rules, the philosophical rules are there. So if I know, for example, this person has a wood problem, it's up to me to decide whether it's going to be pharmacopoeia, it's going to be needles, it's going to be cupping, it's going to be diet therapy. Diet therapy,
Yeah.
same. So you might look for the herbs for the wood. I might look for the foods for wood. What are the herbs and the foods for wood? Their taste is sour. Number one,
Yeah.
the flavor is sour. This is the first thing. So you take lemon, you take vinegar, you take some herbs. When you taste them, they taste a little bit sourish. Think about any traditional medicines you know back home which taste sour, like what they call folaria, this red drink that they give
Yes. So
people
bolo.
drink
Yeah.
around the
Yeah.
world. When you drink that thing without putting sugar or honey, what's the flavor? What's the taste? Is it not sour?
Yes.
As long as it's sour, it's going to regulate the liver and the gallbladder.
Wait, dog. I must say from this one, I must say, ideally, even every pharmacist or anybody in the medical field must have this practical aspect of TCM in their CV. Why do I say so? Because we, apart from doctors, especially me as a pharmacist, we barely have practical aspect, as you are saying, like this practical aspect that you are talking about. We just learn
Yeah.
our pharmacology, we know this theory, we know the sciences, but ideally in the practical aspect we don't have it.
Yes.
Will you say in the future there should be something like that in medical field?
I think the medical field is already going in that direction because today they are using spectrograph, like light therapies, red lights,
Yeah.
blue lights, and so on. These are coming from what I'm talking about, the five elements. The red light is a fire element. The blue light is the wood element or the green light. Yes. Yellow light is the earth element. White light is the metal element, and so on. So, depending on the coloration of the light you're using, you're generating a different, type of energy. And so, modern medicine today is using red light
Those-
therapies or blue light
Yes.
therapies or yellow light therapies to treat people. It's all over the place, even very expensive now. This is where medicine is going. They're not giving so many pills, they're using lights. They send you into a light
Yes.
room and stuff like that because they're starting to understand. When we say wood element, I'm just using one element to make it easier for people to understand. So I'm focusing around the wood element. The
Yes.
color is green. What is green if not a light spectrum? Science knows this spectrum. How many hertz to how many hertz is green light? It's known. It's not a secret. It's not magic. Ancient people talked about the green and they used the green to treat, green color, put you in a green room, surrounded you with green leaves and other kinds of things. or use the green leaves to feed you with it for a particular effect.
Yes.
But modern science realizes this is a spectrum of light, and they can use this light spectrum to treat your liver and your gallbladder. Yes, this is where we're going today.
Interesting.
This, yes, from the modern aspect. A red light has a spectrum. The yellow light for Earth has its own spectrum. These spectra are all known by modern science. But when you talk about the five elements, this is all in
Yeah.
your head. I know the wood element is green, fire element is red, earth element is yellow, metal
Yeah.
element is white, water element is black, black including transparent in ancient China.
Yeah.
The word
Yeah.
black means transparent, also like glass or water. Yes. And this is it. So I have all these colors, and I know that the wood element is liver gallbladder. Fire element is heart, pericardium, small intestine, and the wood element is the spleen and the stomach and the pancreas.
Yes.
The metal element is the lungs and the large intestine. The water element is the kidneys and the urinary bladder. I know this is all in my head.
Yeah.
I know what their effects are. I know their psychological aspects. So the wood element would be anger. Fire
Yes.
element would be joy, including crazy laughter, laughing for no reason. You know, you can
Oh.
laugh normally. This is a fire element, but when the fire element becomes exuberant, you start laughing like a fool. You're laughing over nonsense. This is means something has gone wrong with your
Yeah.
heart and your circulatory system already. It needs to be treated. Yes. Now, you go to the wood element. What is the psychological aspect? This is anxiety. You worry about everything and nothing for no good logical reason. You're worried about things you shouldn't worry about. It means
Dog.
there's been damage to your spleen, your
Dog.
pancreas, and your stomach.
Sorry for interrupting.
It's
You have been
okay.
so experienced. What is preventing you to start a hospital or something, especially back in Cameroon, where you train people or have your own hospital in maybe Cameroon or different? What is delaying you?
um, Nothing, in fact. You see, every day I treat people. I no longer am beyond the point where I need a brick and mortar hospital to work in. I don't need a hospital. I can say really strange things here based on my research. I don't want to go too far to say things
Ye-
that would shock the
yes.
ordinary human mind. If you follow all of this through, you come to a point where it is no longer at the ordinary material level. I can treat people even without being present with them. So the whole world becomes a hospital to me. I'm being very serious in saying these things. But
Yeah.
most of the time, I limit it to working on the internet. So people, like I said, people call me every day from Cameroon. Three
Yeah.
people may call me today. I analyze them. I tell them what they need. They pay. They do a bank transfer. I transfer the money to the pharmacy. I get paid for what I'm doing from that. Then I ship the medicine to them or I ship it to their family members in China who move it to them in their country within a few days. They take the medicines, they get the good results, they give the feedback. I do this every single day. So
Yeah. My
it,
my my
yeah,
biggest problem is training people, you know, training people who also have this skill, transferring this knowledge to so many people, training several people. Even like if you have several branches in Cameroon, even different countries, I think that will go a long way to save lives.
you're right. We have these plans because my wife is the same thing as myself.
Okay.
She's the same. She has studied
Okay.
the same things. We share knowledge, we interact,
Come on.
we
Yeah.
she likes to work with herbs just like you. She likes to work with herbs. So usually when it has to go to the herb thing, I throw people that way. And then when it's coming to the mechanics of it or the other aspect, she throws them this way. We study
Yeah.
the same things, but she likes the herbs more, and I like the needles and the qigongs and things more. So we work
Yeah.
together. Now, we have plans. In the next 2 to 3 years, we probably will be traveling across Nigeria, Cameroon, Ghana, Kenya, all of this. trying to get people to understand more. But why we aren't traveling right now is because we're trying to finalize a few things. We have kids, like I
Yeah.
have some kids in the university. I have some kids who are still in middle school and primary
Yeah.
school. I had a whole bunch of kids. So part of my attention is
Moving.
being taken
Yeah.
up by making sure my kids have a proper footing before all of them, before I just go do my own thing. And the
Yeah.
second thing is we are working on this AI thing, the artificial intelligence thing, and it might be finished by the end of this year or early next year. Once it's done,
Yeah.
we will be able to put that online and do a lot of work through that. And that frees us, to be able to travel more freely. So we will do these things. And we also had a business we started in China, like the Cameroon Pavilion, Trade Pavilion in Shanghai,
Okay.
is owned by my family. And we own this. And so these business ventures, we need to tidy them and balance them up so our kids can take over. And then when they
Yeah.
do, we can leave, kind of retire. Like I'm 56 years
Yeah.
old. I feel like an old man.
Oh,
And now I want to move towards the countryside in Cameroon. So we're doing agricultural projects and all these kinds of things. We want to use that context as a
yes.
base for treating people in the future. So you come to
Yes.
the countryside, to the village. There are farms, there are fishes, there is everything. And in that environment,
Natural.
yeah,
Yes.
you get treated. And we grow herbs there and stuff. We can show you how to grow herbs. And we are
Yes.
thinking about this kind of approach to medicine where it's not totally medicine, it's a more
Yes.
natural, holistic
Natural something.
approach to it.
Yeah.
Yes. So we have already developed the plantations. We have lots of things growing, plantain
Wow.
farms. We have fishes, we're raising fish and stuff,
Yes.
but it's not finalized yet. It might need another 1 to 2 years
Some.
to
Yeah.
tidy it up. Yes.
Wow.
And then we have to consider, okay, leave China, go home. Yeah. The
Wow.
rest is our kids'
Happy.
yes.
I'm really happy to hear that you have good plans like this because I actually I've been seeing your post several times, but I didn't know much about you being especially so specialized in this so much. And having this conversation with you, I've really enjoyed so much. And if we want to continue, we'll not finish today about this TCM.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoy them. I just enjoy them so much. And after this conversation, I should be one of your students. I want to be one of them that after 3 months, I can also be explaining. Let me look at your tank, diagnosing with those experience and everything. This is so inspiring and so I don't know the word I should use. So magical,
Yeah.
if I should
It
use.
actually it actually is some kind of a magical world, and that's the beauty of it. I love this life. I love this world. I love the way my life is. Everything I do is like a magical world. We used to think as children about this world that is different, that is beautiful, that is better.
Yeah.
You can actually have such a world and have such a life this way.
Wow. In fact, after several years of entering, uh, going into TCM, flashing back to your old self, what would you have said? Would you go back to TCM? What would you have said if you were deciding to decide which kind of area or field to go into?
I would have gone into TCM right from the beginning, not gone left, right into the other things which I went into because they are useful too, because they also
Yes,
contribute to who I am.
yes.
But I think I would have just gone straight into
It's,
TCM even from when I was 6 years old. As a
wow.
child, that would have been the best thing to do. Just go into that and grow in it. Because when you become the best at this, the sky is the limit. You don't lack work, you don't lack money, you don't lack anything, and your own health. You can take care of yourself first. This is the most important thing. You're not
Yes,
scared of diabetes. You're not scared of all the usual things people. because you can, even if I get diabetes today, give me maximum 3 days to 1 week, it will be gone. I know everything, what I need to do to knock it out.
Wow.
So it's a different life because you know what you can do for yourself, your family, your friends, and your people.
Wow. And that is why after this conversation, I want to be one of your students, because it's not even about caring people. Just we only have only one life. So
Yeah,
just knowing much about yourself, protecting yourself that way is everything that everyone should even know about and everyone should
exactly.
invest in. And wow, I can see that on you. I couldn't imagine you are 56. Wow.
Yeah.
And you look very young. All this while I see in the group and this thing, I never imagined that. Yeah, and I could see the effect of the TCM.
It does
So
have an effect. Yeah,
yeah,
really does.
wow. So before we even end to this conversation, in the future we'll have you more to talk much about this. I really love this kind of conversation so much. How has TCM been to you?
Um, Maybe I don't understand the question. The question is, how has TCM been to me?
Yes,
Um, I don't
as
quite get
in,
it.
as in, after several years entering into TCM, if you have
Yeah.
to summarize, some people say I regretted. Some people say, to you, how has it been to you?
TCM is the best thing that ever happened to me. The best thing, nothing excluded. Because TCM is global. Everything I was looking for, physically, mentally, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, I could find in the same thing or through the same thing. So I don't feel a need to search for this, search for that. I have found everything I used to want to find. So I have zero regrets about this. Absolutely not. I just wish I had started this much earlier, you know. Yeah, that's all. There's everything in it, as far as I'm concerned.
Wow. I'm so happy, and I'm so happy I've had this conversation with you. I personally have been so curious about this acupuncture, this massage, and everything. But I never found the right person. And the question I'm asking is, where have you been? And why have you been hiding yourself from me? Thank you so much for honoring this invite, for being open and sharing much about this TCM. And you have really convinced me, you have won my heart fully to go into TCM. Thank you so much for educating me, and this means so much for me, and I know it will be like that to so many of our audience. Before we leave, what are some of the words you want to tell to our audience or any person who be watching us in any part of the world?
You mean, what do I have to say to people around the world? I
Yes,
would say that as Africans in particular, but as citizens of the world,
yes,
I think that traditional cultures have a lot to offer to the world, a lot more than we usually think. And because they use ancient terminologies does not mean that they are backward. They often are describing the same things that modern science is beginning to discover only now. And so I encourage everyone around the world who can to look
yes,
further into their traditional cultures without bias,
yes,
and without fear. You don't need to retain what is bad about the culture, but
yes,
whatever is good, whatever is useful about ancient cultures should be preserved, revived, and taught to the children so they don't lose it. because these things might be what save our lives. Like during the
Yes.
COVID period, we use this
Exactly.
knowledge to save a lot of people's lives very quickly.
Yes. Wow. In
Yeah.
fact, you have left me so much touch, and I'm so happy. This is one of the best conversations I've had so far. Thank you so much, Doctor, for your time, for honoring the invite, for coming to share your experience. And anybody who want to reach him, check in the description box. You can contact him through his YouTube, WeChat, WhatsApp, and he will make sure that he gives you all the right coaching or medication that you need. Before we even leave, I would like you to say something in French, or yeah, because Cameroonians or those are francophone friends too. Yeah, some last words in French before we leave.
All right, I'll do my best. Bonjour à tous, je m'appelle Dr Anthony Balinga et j'ai passé pas mal d'années en Chine où j'ai fait des études en médecine traditionnelle chinoise ainsi que la médecine orthodoxe occidentale. Et donc aujourd'hui, nous avons passé notre temps à discuter de l'importance de la médecine traditionnelle chinoise, non seulement au peuple africain, mais aussi au monde entier. Alors, j'aimerais encourager tout un chacun, dans la mesure du possible, d'essayer de faire des recherches sur la médecine traditionnelle chinoise ainsi que d'autres médecines traditionnelles provenant de l'Afrique ou d'autres parties du monde, essayer d'en profiter pour améliorer leur vie. D'abord, c'est moins coûteux la plupart du temps, c'est moins coûteux. Et aussi, il y a des possibilités non soupçonnées qui existent à l'intérieur de ces méthodes dites révolues. Et donc, voilà, pour ceux qui en aimeraient savoir plus, essayez de nous contacter et nous allons vous donner beaucoup plus d'informations sur ce sujet. Merci.
Merci beaucoup, Doctor. Thank you so much for honoring our invite, and thank you so much, anybody who has watched this video to this time. Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe, follow our platforms. We are the only live podcast based in China. And every week, we try to bring experts who are in China to share their experience and what they are really doing in China with the world. And today, I've really enjoyed this aspect of Chinese traditional medicine. See you next time, next week, as we will be having another special guest every week. See you, and until then, bye bye to everyone.